Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Italian ebook before it's gone.
Welcome to ItalianPod101.com's Italiano in 3 minuti, the fastest, easiest and most fun way to learn Italian. Ciao, sono Consuelo, piacere. Hi, I'm Consuelo, nice to meet you. I've just introduced myself in Italian. In this lesson, you are going to learn how to introduce yourself in Italian. There are only 2 sentences to do it, but first, it is important to clarify that in Italian there's a difference between formal and informal speech. Let's now see how Italians introduce themselves in an informal situation, referring to tu, Italian for you. Ciao, sono Consuelo, piacere di conoscerti. Hi, I'm Consuelo, nice to meet you. Ciao, sono Consuelo. Piacere di conoscerti. So, you just need to say, ciao, sono, add your name, and then piacere di conoscerti. Ciao, sono Consuelo, piacere di conoscerti. And now, let's see the same sentence during a formal situation, referring to lei, the Italian courtesy form for you. Buongiorno, sono Consuelo Innocenti. Piacere di conoscerla. Buongiorno, sono Consuelo Innocenti. Piacere di conoscerla. What has changed from the previous introduction? Let's take a look at this. Ciao has been substituted with the formal greeting buongiorno, Italian for good morning. Sono Consuelo has not been changed. Sono stands in both cases for I am. However, during a formal self-introduction, we also say our last name. Consuelo Innocenti are respectively my first and last names. Finally, the sentence piacere di conoscerla has switched conoscerti into conoscerla, since conoscerla is referred to lei, the Italian formal courtesy form for you. So, the formal way to introduce yourself is buongiorno, sono, here add your full name, and then piacere di conoscerla. Buongiorno, sono Consuelo Innocenti, piacere di conoscerla. If you use the correct sentence with Italians, they are definitely going to be impressed. So, ciao, sono Consuelo, piacere. Ciao a tutti, sono Consuelo. Hi everybody, I'm Consuelo and welcome back to ItalianPod101.com's Italiano in 3 minuti, the fastest, easiest and most fun way to learn Italian. In the last lesson, we learned how to introduce ourselves in Italian. As good manners are always a must, this time we are going to learn how to thank people. So, siete pronti? Are you ready? Cominciamo! Let's start! There are several ways to thank someone. Let's start with the easiest. It's just one word. Grazie. Grazie. Grazie means thank you. When saying thank you very much, you just need to add tante or mille, like grazie tante or grazie mille. Grazie tante or grazie mille. Tante means a lot and mille means 1,000. Thank you 1,000 times. During the last lesson, we mentioned both the formal and informal way of speaking Italian. If you want to be more formal when thanking someone, you should say la ringrazio. La ringrazio. That was the formal way to say thank you when referring to lei, the Italian courtesy form for you. Ringraziare is the infinitive form of the verb to give thanks, to be grateful. How to answer? It's easy. There are basically two different ways to do it. The first is prego. Prego means you're welcome. The other way to say you're welcome is the expression non c'è di che. Non c'è di che means there's nothing about it. So, when someone is saying grazie to you, we can simply reply with prego or non c'è di che. Sometimes we can say them both, like prego, non c'è di che. For example, if someone is giving you something, grazie mille.
Prego.
Now it's time for Consuelo's tips. Remember, when in doubt, when it is more appropriate to use grazie or la ringrazio, keep it simple is always your safest bet. If you're not sure whether to use the formal or casual version, you can always simply say grazie. So, grazie mille a tutti. Thank you very much, everybody. Do you know what arrivederci means? In the next lesson, you'll learn this and more greetings in Italian. Ciao, grazie, alla prossima lezione! Ciao a tutti, sono Consuelo. Hi everybody, I'm Consuelo and welcome back to ItalianPod101.com's Italiano in 3 minuti, the fastest, easiest and most fun way to learn Italian. In the last lesson, we learned how to be grateful saying grazie. Today, we learn some of the most common greetings used in Italy. Pronti? Are you ready? Allora, cominciamo! Let's start! The most used informal greeting is ciao. Ciao. Ciao means hi, hello, and goodbye. That's why we use it when we meet, but also when we leave. We should only use this greeting with relatives or friends. And now, let's talk about some more formal greetings. The one you're used to hear in Italy and at ItalianPod101.com is buongiorno. Buongiorno. Literally, buongiorno means good day. However, we could also interpret it as good morning or good afternoon. As a rule of thumb, we can use buongiorno only during the daytime from morning until evening. During the evening, we say buonasera. Buonasera. So, since sera obviously means evening, buonasera stands for good evening. Buongiorno and buonasera are used when we meet someone, but when we leave, we don't say them again. In this formal situation, Italians use arrivederci. Arrivederci. Arrivederci means goodbye. Finally, in Italian, we use the expression meaning see you soon, that can be considered both formal and informal. That is, a presto. A presto. Now, you can greet people in many different ways in Italian. Ciao. Ciao. Buongiorno. Buonasera. Arrivederci. Arrivederci. A presto. A presto. It's easy, isn't it? Now it's time for Consuelo's tips. In formal situations, Italians commonly greet one another by shaking hands. On the other hand, If we meet someone we are very friendly with, we kiss each other on the cheek. Don't be afraid to do it with your Italian friends. It's normal. Ciao!
Ciao!
In the next lesson, we'll learn the meaning of the phrase parla inglese? Do you already know it? We'll be waiting for you in our next Italiano in 3 minuti lesson. Ciao, a presto, alla prossima lezione! Ciao a tutti, sono Consuelo. Hi everybody, I'm Consuelo and welcome back to ItalianPod101.com's Italiano in 3 minuti, the fastest, easiest and most fun way to learn Italian. In the last lesson, we learned the most common forms of greetings in Italian. We talked about greetings like ciao, buongiorno, buonasera, and so on. Today, we are going to learn a very useful phrase. Do you speak English? Using this phrase as opposed to speaking English to someone is important for many reasons. For one, if the person you're speaking to doesn't understand English, at least they'll be able to understand what you're saying. Furthermore, that you've made an effort to learn even a little bit of the language shows a lot of respect on your part. So, for these reasons and many more, we are going to cover this very important phrase. Are you ready? Allora, cominciamo! So, let's start! Now, here's the informal way to say it. Parli inglese? Parli inglese? In this sentence, the verb parlare, to speak, is inflected in the second singular person tu. You can easily recognize it from the ending part of the verb parli. To learn how to properly conjugate are verbs like parlare at the present indicative, please look at our Absolute Beginner series. You can find very detailed grammar lessons if you check upon ItalianPod101.com. But now, let's go back to parli inglese. Inglese is the adjective that means English. When asking the question, do you speak English in a formal situation, you should switch the verb parlare into the third singular person, lei. The result is parla inglese? This sentence could be very helpful if you're in trouble on the streets, in a restaurant, at a hotel. No matter where you are, whenever you need to talk to an English speaker, just ask, parla inglese? Adding scusi, excuse me, the sentence becomes more polite. Scusi, parla inglese? Scusi, parla inglese? The responses you will receive could be basically one of these three. Sì. Sì. Un po'. Un po'. No, non parlo inglese. No, non parlo inglese. Since this last one is a negative statement, we should say non before the verb. With io, Italian for I, the verb changes into parlo. That is why I do not speak is non parlo. Non parlo. Now it's time for Consuelo's tips. For those of you who are not only English speakers, you can obviously use this question with any language you need. Italians study other European languages at school, so maybe you get lucky. Just substitute inglese with francese for French, spagnolo for Spanish, and tedesco for German. In today's lesson, we mentioned scusi. In the next lesson, we'll learn these and other ways to apologize in Italian. It's never too late to show your good manners with Italian people. I'll see you in our next Italiano in 3 minuti lesson. Ciao, alla prossima lezione! Ciao a tutti, sono Consuelo. Hi everybody, I'm Consuelo. Welcome back to ItalianPod101.com's Italiano in 3 minuti, the fastest, easiest and most fun way to learn Italian. In the last lesson, we learned the phrase Scusi, parla inglese? Excuse me, do you speak English? We mentioned the word scusi, which means excuse me in formal Italian. Today, we are going to learn how to use scusi and other words when apologizing in Italian. Are you ready? Allora, cominciamo! Let's start! We should use scusi in formal Italian, such as when we are ordering something in bars or restaurants. For example, scusi, un caffè per favore. Scusi, un caffè per favore. We can also use it when asking a question. Scusi, dov'è il Colosseo? Scusi, dov'è il Colosseo? Sometimes we also hear people say mi scusi, which actually has the same meaning. We always use this phrase in formal speech. The informal way to say excuse me is scusa. Scusa. We can use scusa when asking a friend or a relative a question. For example, scusa, che ore sono? Scusa, che ore sono? Or when apologizing. Scusa, sono in ritardo. Scusa, sono in ritardo. Instead of scusa, we can also say scusami, which has the same meaning. Besides scusi and scusa, if we want to apologize for something, we may use mi dispiace, Italian for I am sorry, in both formal and informal situations. Someone might tell us mi dispiace in a formal situation. For example, the waiter of a restaurant could say mi dispiace ma I calamari sono finiti. Mi dispiace ma I calamari sono finiti. Or, in an informal situation, when you need to apologize to a friend, you could say mi dispiace per ieri. Mi dispiace per ieri. Now it's time for Consuelo's tips. Please remember that in Italy, if you accidentally bump into someone, we don't say I am sorry, mi dispiace. Instead, we say scusi, excuse me. My last tip for today is this. When you want to apologize in a deeper, more heartfelt way, you can add the adverb molto or tanto next to mi dispiace, saying mi dispiace molto or mi dispiace tanto. Hey guys, please tell me, are you able to count in Italian? What is the name of our lessons? Italiano in 3 minuti. You see, you already know a number. 3. In the next lesson, we will learn the numbers in Italian from 1 to 10. 3, 2, 1, via! 3, 2, 1, go! We'll be waiting for you in our next Italiano in 3 minuti lesson. Ciao! Alla prossima lezione!
Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Elena, allora dove ti porto? Vuoi andare a casa?
Non so se passare da Valeria o andare direttamente a casa.
Valeria non lavora più alla panetteria?
No,
Ok, cosa devo fare? O ti lascio da Valeria o ceniamo assieme, scegli tu.
lo so, è che proprio stasera hai ricevuto la tua nuova macchina. Potevamo andare a cena insieme.
Non ti preoccupare, dai, possiamo cenare insieme dopodomani, ovvero domenica.
Allora va bene, andiamo pure da Valeria. Vuoi prendere l'autostrada o la strada statale?
Penso che sia meglio l'autostrada con questo traffico.
Ok,
Now you'll hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
casa,
Home, house, one's place.
casa, casa, direttamente,
Directly, straight.
direttamente, direttamente, panetteria,
Bakery,
panetteria, panetteria, cenare,
to have dinner, to dine.
cenare, cenare, dopodomani,
The day after tomorrow.
dopodomani, dopodomani, autostrada,
Highway,
autostrada, autostrada.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Elena, allora dove ti porto? Vuoi andare a casa?
Non so se passare da Valeria o andare direttamente a casa.
Valeria non lavora più alla panetteria?
No,
Ok, cosa devo fare? O ti lascio da Valeria o ceniamo assieme, scegli tu.
lo so, è che proprio stasera hai ricevuto la tua nuova macchina. Potevamo andare a cena insieme.
Non ti preoccupare, dai, possiamo cenare insieme dopodomani, ovvero domenica.
Allora va bene, andiamo pure da Valeria. Vuoi prendere l'autostrada o la strada statale?
Penso che sia meglio l'autostrada con questo traffico.
Ok,
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson. Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary, followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Eccoci!
grazie Carlo. Allora tu cosa farai stasera?
Stavo pensando di andare da Piero a vedermi la partita, oppure di affittare un film.
Valeria ha detto che puoi entrare a bere qualcosa se vuoi.
Ok, grazie.
Ciao ragazzi!
Ciao, Valeria!
Preferite bere acqua oppure succo d'arancia?
Succo d'arancia per me, grazie.
Io prendo l'acqua. Carlo, stasera rimani qui con noi?
No, stavo pensando di andare da Piero a vedere la partita.
Ah, allora forse è meglio che ti sbrighi, o la perderai.
Now you'll hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
Pensare,
To think, believe.
pensare, pensare. Partita di calcio.
Football match, game.
Partita di calcio. Partita di calcio. Affittare.
To let, rent.
Affittare. Affittare. Succo d'arancia.
Orange juice.
Succo d'arancia. Succo d'arancia. Sbrigarsi.
To hurry up, be quick.
Sbrigarsi. Sbrigarsi. Perdere.
To lose, waste, miss.
Perdere. Perdere.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Eccoci!
Grazie Carlo. Allora tu cosa farai stasera?
Stavo pensando di andare da Piero a vedermi la partita, oppure di affittare un film.
Valeria ha detto che puoi entrare a bere qualcosa se vuoi.
Ok, grazie.
Ciao ragazzi!
Ciao Valeria!
Preferite bere acqua oppure succo d'arancia?
Succo d'arancia per me, grazie.
Io prendo l'acqua. Carlo, stasera rimani qui con noi?
No, stavo pensando di andare da Piero a vedere la partita.
Ah, allora forse è meglio che ti sbrighi, o la perderai.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson. Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary, followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Che cosa avete fatto poi ieri sera?
Abbiamo visto un film dell'orrore che aveva portato il cugino di Valeria.
Com'era?
Veramente spaventoso. Dopo il film Valeria non voleva rimanere da sola.
Davvero? Se mi dici il titolo lo noleggio.
Adesso non mi ricordo, ma ti farò sapere. E tu hai visto la partita poi?
Quando sono arrivato da Marco era già finito il primo tempo.
Perché sei arrivato tardi?
Ho trovato un incidente per la strada e c'era una coda lunghissima.
Ti avevo detto che era meglio il motorino.
Hai ragione, quando si è in ritardo il motorino è sempre meglio.
Now you'll hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
Orrore.
Horror.
O-ro-re. Orrore. Cugino.
Cousin.
Cugino. Cugino. Spaventoso.
Frightening. Scary.
Spaventoso. Spaventoso. Noleggiare.
To rent.
Noleggiare. Noleggiare. Incidente.
Accident. Incident.
Incidente. Incidente. Motorino.
Scooter.
Motorino. Motorino.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Che cosa avete fatto poi ieri sera?
Abbiamo visto un film dell'orrore che aveva portato il cugino di Valeria.
Com'era?
Veramente spaventoso. Dopo il film Valeria non voleva rimanere da sola.
Davvero? Se mi dici il titolo lo noleggio.
Adesso non mi ricordo, ma ti farò sapere. E tu hai visto la partita poi?
Quando sono arrivato da Marco era già finito il primo tempo.
Perché sei arrivato tardi?
Ho trovato un incidente per la strada e c'era una coda lunghissima.
Ti avevo detto che era meglio il motorino.
Hai ragione. Quando si è in ritardo, il motorino è sempre meglio.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson. Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Ciao Carlo, sono Valeria. Disturbo?
No, dimmi.
Ti ho chiamato per chiederti un favore. Mi presteresti il tuo motorino?
Ah, per quando ne hai bisogno?
Domani pomeriggio. Devo comprare delle cose all'outlet fuori città.
Ah, ok, non c'è problema. Posso usare la macchina per andare al lavoro. Comunque, pensavo tu ne avessi uno.
Sì, ma è dal meccanico. Ha qualche problema al motore. Sinceramente non ci capisco niente. Mi avevano detto era questione di un paio di giorni, ma è già passata una settimana.
Ah, non ti preoccupare, lo lascio davanti a casa. Per le chiavi, suona il campanello e chiedile a mia madre.
Ho capito. Grazie, sei un tesoro.
Ah sì? Allora compra qualcosa anche per me.
Now you'll hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
Prestare.
To lend, yield, give.
Bisogno.
Need, lack, necessity, poverty.
Fuori.
Out, outside.
Motore.
Engine, motor.
Sinceramente.
Honestly, sincerely.
Campanello.
Doorbell, buzzer.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Ciao Carlo, sono Valeria. Disturbo?
No, dimmi.
Ti ho chiamato per chiederti un favore. Mi presteresti il tuo motorino?
Ah, per quando ne hai bisogno?
Domani pomeriggio. Devo comprare delle cose all'outlet fuori città.
Ah, ok, non c'è problema. Posso usare la macchina per andare al lavoro. Comunque, pensavo tu ne avessi uno.
Sì, ma è dal meccanico. Ha qualche problema al motore. Sinceramente non ci capisco niente. Mi avevano detto era questione di un paio di giorni, ma è già passata una settimana.
Ah, non ti preoccupare, lo lascio davanti a casa. Per le chiavi, suona il campanello e chiedile a mia madre.
Ho capito. Grazie, sei un tesoro.
Ah sì? Allora compra qualcosa anche per me.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson. Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno! Mamma mia che acquazzone!
Sì, è completamente bagnato.
Stamattina avevo visto che era nuvoloso, ma non pensavo potesse piovere così forte. Le strade sono allagate ed io non ho l'ombrello.
Ah, capisco. Mi dica, cosa le do oggi?
Non ho fatto colazione. Vorrei un bel pezzo di focaccia con funghi e carciofi.
Ok. Ecco qua. Le serve altro?
In realtà ero venuto anche per chiederle un favore. Potrebbe tenere la mia valigia in negozio per un'oretta? Devo fare delle spese prima di prendere il treno.
Non c'è problema. Mi dia pure la sua valigia. Le presto anche il mio ombrello.
Oh, grazie infinite, signorina. Lei è sempre così gentile.
Now you'll hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
Acquazzone.
Rainstorm, downpour, rain shower,
Bagnato.
wet,
Ombrello.
umbrella,
Pezzo.
piece, part, bit,
Focaccia.
focaccia,
Carciofo.
artichoke.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno! Mamma mia che acquazzone!
Sì, è completamente bagnato.
Stamattina avevo visto che era nuvoloso, ma non pensavo potesse piovere così forte. Le strade sono allagate ed io non ho l'ombrello.
Ah, capisco. Mi dica, cosa le do oggi?
Non ho fatto colazione. Vorrei un bel pezzo di focaccia con funghi e carciofi.
Ok. Ecco qua. Le serve altro?
In realtà ero venuto anche per chiederle un favore. Potrebbe tenere la mia valigia in negozio per un'oretta? Devo fare delle spese prima di prendere il treno.
Non c'è problema. Mi dia pure la sua valigia. Le presto anche il mio ombrello.
Oh, grazie infinite, signorina. Lei è sempre così gentile.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson. Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Ehi, chi ha lasciato qui questa valigia?
Oh, scusi.
Ecco, sono inciampato e mi è caduto il pane.
Ci penso io a buttarlo.
Insomma, fa attenzione. Porto dei vassoi roventi.
Abbia pazienza. È la valigia del signor Antonio.
Non è quello il punto. Quando cominciai a lavorare, anch'io facevo degli errori, ma tu sei quasi un disastro.
Non dica così. Faccio del mio meglio.
Lo so, ma sei troppo distratta.
Now you'll hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
Inciampare.
To stumble, trip.
Inciampare. Inciampare. Infornare.
To put into the oven, bake.
Infornare. Infornare. Vassoio.
Tray.
Vassoio. Vassoio. Rovente.
Red hot, scorching.
Rovente. rovente, cominciare,
To start, begin.
cominciare, cominciare, disastro,
Disaster, mess.
disastro, disastro.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Ehi, chi ha lasciato qui questa valigia?
Oh, scusi,
Ecco, sono inciampato e mi è caduto il pane.
ci penso io a buttarlo.
E insomma, fa attenzione. Porto dei vassoi roventi.
Abbia pazienza. È la valigia del signor Antonio.
Non è quello il punto. Quando cominciai a lavorare, anch'io facevo degli errori, ma tu sei quasi un disastro.
Non dica così. Faccio del mio meglio.
Lo so, ma sei troppo distratta.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson.
Most people who learn a foreign language learn it so that they can one day have real-life conversations with native speakers. When you start out learning and crack open your first textbook or listen to your first podcast, having a real conversation can feel like a fantasy. When everything about a language feels new, it can be overwhelming. But this couldn't be further from the truth. While it does take a significant amount of time and effort to become fluent, having a conversation might not be as far off as you think. In this video, we'll look at 3 ways you can boost your conversational skills and start talking to native speakers. Number 1, find native speakers and practice with them. It's unlikely you live near a big group of native speakers to practice with. If you happen to be in a major or international city, your chances may be better. Check and see if your city has a general language exchange. Chances are there could be a native speaker there who is also trying to learn another language. Practicing in person with a native speaker is probably the most interesting option for honing your speaking skills. But if you can't find anyone where you live, the next best option is to look online. Luckily for language learners, the past 10 years or so have seen an explosion in online language exchange sites. On these websites, you can search for someone who is a native speaker of your target language and is also learning your native language. The idea behind a language exchange is that you communicate with them via video or text chat, and half of the time, they help you practice your target language. And for the other half, you help them practice theirs. Practicing via an online language exchange is a highly effective way to practice your conversational skills. Number 2, work on pronunciation. Pronunciation is often an overlooked skill when it comes to learning a foreign language. Most people think of a good foreign accent as a luxury rather than a necessity. But what most people don't talk about is how having a good accent boosts your listening and comprehension skills. If you can hear a sound from a foreign language and know how to make it yourself, then you're more likely to understand native speakers when they talk at normal speed, and you're also more likely to remember any new words or phrases you come across. Having a good accent means that the language no longer sounds foreign. Instead, it sounds familiar, maybe even natural. So how do you go about perfecting your accent? The best way is to break down the language into its individual sounds. Make note of any sounds that are the same or similar to your native language and of those that are different. Of the sounds that are different, spend your time practicing the ones that you find the hardest to say correctly. After you're comfortable with the individual sounds, you can start linking together words and phrases. This is where accent practice starts to get really fun and interesting. Get your hands on some native speaker audio from a TV show, song, or podcast. Play the audio back and listen closely a few times. Take note of how words blend together in speech. Then, do your best to imitate what you hear, trying to match the speaker's emphasis and intonation. Our language learning program's playback feature is perfect for this. Record yourself and compare it to the original recording. Rinse and repeat until you're comfortable with the audio selection, and then move on to something more difficult. This is how you can break through the accent barrier and really start to make the language your own. Number 3, learn phrases, not just individual words. Learning grammar and individual words is great, but it's not the only approach you should take if you want to speak fluently. In addition to your regular grammar and vocabulary, try learning whole phrases, even if you aren't totally sure how they work grammatically. Learn phrases that are specific to your needs. It's a good idea to learn phrases that are grouped around a certain setting or subject, such as simple greetings or introductions, questions for getting to know someone, or traveling comfortably. You can even learn filler phrases, which you can use so that you have something to say when, well, you don't know what to say. Learning phrases like this will help you become conversational faster. You may not understand what you're saying literally, but as long as you know the general meaning behind the phrase and know when to use it, you'll be able to talk like a native. Eventually, your knowledge of grammar and vocabulary should catch up with the phrases you know. Learning a new language should feel like an adventure. There will be plateaus and periods in your learning where it feels like you're hitting a wall, but being able to speak with native speakers and have real conversations will help you combat language fatigue. After all, talking to someone face-to-face in a foreign language is one of the main reasons we start learning in the first place. And for even more ways to gain conversation skills, check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! Welcome to Can Do Italian by ItalianPod101.com.
Ciao a tutti, sono Felice Angelini. Hi everyone, I'm Felice Angelini. In this lesson, you learn essential social expressions, such as thank you.
This is Ben Lee, and he's on the train. A fellow passenger drops his wallet as he exits the train. Ben picks up the wallet and chases after the man. He calls to the man by saying, "Excuse me."
Scusi,
Listen to the following 3 short dialogues between Ben and the man.
scusi,
Sì,
Ben hands the man the wallet.
grazie.
prego,
Ben turns to board the train, but the door is shut.
Scusi,
non c'è problema.
Once more with the English translation.
Scusi,
Excuse me.
sì,
Yes? Ben hands the man the wallet.
grazie.
Thank you.
prego,
You're welcome. Ben turns to board the train, but the door is shut.
Scusi,
I'm sorry.
non c'è problema.
It's no problem.
Let's take a closer look at these 3 conversations.
First, do you remember how Ben Lee says, "Excuse me"?
Scusi,
In this context,
scusi,
is used to get someone's attention and translates as, "Excuse me."
scusi, scusi,
This is a formal expression. Ben uses it because he's speaking with someone he doesn't know. Note, this expression can also be used as a mild apology, but here Ben uses it to get the attention of the person he's chasing after. Remember this expression. You'll use it later in the lesson. Do you remember how the passenger acknowledges Ben by saying, "Yes"?
sì,
Yes?
sì,
sì,
The second part of the conversation takes place after Ben returns the passenger's wallet. Do you remember how the passenger says, "Thank you"?
grazie.
Thank you.
grazie,
Thank you.
grazie,
Grazie.
To add more emphasis to your appreciation, you could say,
grazie mille,
literally, thanks 1,000, but it translates as thanks a lot.
Grazie mille.
This is an idiomatic expression used throughout all of Italy. Note,
Mille grazie.
1,000 thanks is a less frequently used variation, meaning the same thing. Do you remember how Ben says, "You're welcome"?
Prego.
You're welcome
Prego. Prego. Prego.
is from the verb
Pregare.
meaning to pray.
Prego.
You're welcome is the most common translation, but this is a versatile phrase that can be used in multiple situations with many translations, so you'll come into contact with it a lot. After the train doors shut and Ben misses his train, do you remember how the passenger apologizes to Ben by saying, "I'm sorry"?
Scusi.
I'm sorry. In this context,
Scusi.
I'm sorry.
Scusi.
The passenger feels responsible for Ben missing his train and is apologizing. So here
Scusi.
means I'm sorry, while in the first dialogue
Scusi.
means excuse me, as Ben is trying to get the passenger's attention. The meaning of
Scusi.
depends on context. Do you remember how Ben replies, "It's no problem"?
Non c'è problema.
This starts with,
Non.
which means not.
Non. Non.
Next is,
C'è.
which means there is.
C'è. C'è. C'è.
Is the contracted form of
Ci è. Ci.
there.
Ci. È.
Is,
È.
dropping the vowel sound from
Ci.
makes the phrase
C'è.
easier to pronounce. Last is
Problema.
problem.
Problema. Problema.
Altogether,
Non c'è problema.
literally means not there is problem, but it translates as it's no problem or no problem.
Non c'è problema.
This is a common phrase used to express that things are all right.
Scusa is the informal form of scusi. Scusa. Excuse me. Scusa. Scusa. Scusa is used in informal situations, such as when speaking with people of similar age and social status. They are both imperative forms of the verb scusare, which means to excuse or to forgive. Let's look at the expressions once more. Listen and repeat, or speak along. Pay attention to the body language. Scusi. Scusi. Sì? Sì? Grazie. Grazie. Prego. Prego. Scusi. Scusi. Non c'è problema. Non c'è problema. Scusa. Scusa. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how Ben Lee says, "Excuse me"?
Scusi.
Scusi. And how the passenger says, "Yes"?
Sì?
Sì? Do you remember how to say thank you? Grazie. Grazie. And how to say you are welcome? Prego. Prego. Do you remember how the passenger says, I'm sorry?
Scusi.
Scusi. And how Ben says, it's no problem.
Non c'è problema.
Non c'è problema.
Let's practice. Imagine you're Karen Lee, and you receive a popular Italian candy from your Italian teacher. Say, thank you. Ready?
Grazie. Prego.
Listen again and repeat.
Grazie. Grazie.
Let's try another. Imagine you're Mark Lee and a passenger bumps into you. Respond by saying, it's no problem. Ready?
Scusi.
Non c'è problema.
Listen again and repeat.
Non c'è problema. Non c'è problema.
Let's try one more. Imagine you're Mark Lee and you see a man drop his wallet. Get his attention. Ready?
Scusi.
Sì?
Listen again and repeat.
Scusi. Scusi.
This is the end of this lesson.
Remember, these can-do lessons are about learning practical language skills. What's next? Show us what you can do. When you're ready, take your assessment. You can take it again and again, so try anytime you like. Our teachers will assess it and give you your results.
Now you know how to use essential social expressions in Italian. That's all there is to it. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson. This is the end of this lesson.
Now, here's what you can do to cement this conversation in your head. Review the conversation with our dialogue tool and lesson transcripts. Study the key words and phrases with our spaced repetition flashcards. Review the key grammar and cultural tips inside the lesson notes. And test yourself with our assessment tests. So click the link in the description right now and sign up for your free lifetime account to access our Can-Do course.
Now you know how to use essential social expressions in Italian. That's all there is to it. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson.
Today we're going to talk about 4 techniques to help you stop translating in your head and instead start thinking in your target language. This will allow you to have conversations with ease, read smoothly, and better understand native speakers. These are 4 methods to help you think in a new language. Number 1, surround yourself with your target language. This way, you'll be completely immersed in the language. Without realizing it, you'll learn pronunciation, sentence structures, grammar, and new vocabulary. Play music in the background while you're cooking, or have a radio station on while you study. Just use one of our endless podcasts available to you. These are easy to listen to in the background while doing other things. Number 2, learn through observation. This is how we all learned our native languages as kids. Words will develop their own meanings that relate better to your target language, rather than meanings that are translated directly. Number 3, speak out loud to yourself. Even if you're a little embarrassed, it forces you to listen to how you speak. It makes it much easier to spot simple grammar mistakes. Number 4, practice daily. If you practice everything for only one day, you won't retain the information you learned. The brain can realistically only focus for about 30 minutes. So studying a little every day allows you to absorb better. Follow these steps and have patience. You'll soon be able to achieve your language learning goals. Just make sure to remember these 4 methods. Sign up for your free lifetime account. No credit card required, and you'll get the best free online resources. And start learning more every day. Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Italian ebook before it's gone.